Hello everyone, it's me Jenny, and it's a video where I'm not wearing pyjamas and I'm wearing like adult clothes and my hair is dry. I'm still not wearing any makeup because I don't wear makeup, but it is not a naked truth, you guys. It's been a while since my last non-naked truth, and even like the one or two videos that I posted which weren't naked truths, I was in my PJs, so you guys think I must exist just in my PJs, which is semi-true, but I do promise I wear adult clothes and like work clothes. I just haven't been filming in them for quite some time. In fact, going back for this commentary, which is what this video is if you hadn't worked it out, I had to go back to like September last year. So yeah, that was scary. I'm not up to date on these. In fact, I'm so up to date that even after over 4 years of vlogging and not missing pretty much any comments, I had to skip some videos on the comments replying, and I feel bad about it, but I also know that I don't have the time or the energy to go back and reply to every single comment, which is what I would normally do and what I should be doing from here on out for the rest of the year, because I do like that habit. It's a very useful habit to have. So yeah, for people who don't know why I'm shooting this in crappy definition and why the audio is not as good as usual and all of those things, and why I'm rambling on, like I'm just like my mouth is making noises like a xylophone. It's just like just less tuneful, and that was a terrible impression of a xylophone. If you're wondering what that is, this is a commentary. Woo, shaky camera because the laptop's on my lap. Hey. So yeah, commentaries where I go back and I type responses to as many comments as I possibly can, usually all of them, not in this case, and then I talk responses because I like making this a conversation, and because apparently I can talk a lot, and so I should practice that skill. It's a good skill to have. So yeah, that's what a commentary is, and the reason why I shoot on my web camera, which is hence the audio and the lack of visual quality, which is great because I am blotchy as anything right now, is so I can ramble on, which I do a lot. If you can't tell from the first 2.5 minutes of this video, I ramble a lot during these commentaries. So yeah, that's the gist of it. So as I said, I went back to October last year. I think there's a good couple of videos between June, July, when I was on top of everything for last year's daily vlogging, through to September that I missed. But I went back to October and then kind of call it quits on that. So there's a couple of videos that I've typed the comments to and I won't be discussing in this video. And there's a couple that I kind of want to talk about that I haven't discussed. So basically the ones I'm focusing on are the ones from this year that have comments that are really relevant, or just comments that I thought were interesting. So yeah. There's one comment on, I've closed the tab and I can't remember which tab it was, but I believe it was Red Sky Blackbird, who's one of my regular commenters, hello, said, do you ever feel vulnerable doing these naked truths, where part of my spiel for the naked truths is it's all about being vulnerable and honest, and that's why most choose to be naked. I choose not to, but either way. And the answer to that is yes, I do feel vulnerable doing the naked truths, particularly on some of the more sensitive topics. A lot of my friends tell me I'm very diplomatic, so a lot of my opinion pieces come off relatively even, which is probably one of the reasons why I don't come off as particularly vulnerable, because I already have thought about the other side of the argument, even if it's not something that I personally agree with. But yeah, if you go to the playlist, if you really want to see me vulnerable, go to the playlist for Naked Truths, and there's a couple of unlisted Naked Truths that I filmed right at the beginning of when I first started doing them, and I was adjusting to the process of a Naked Truth, and they are more vulnerable. There's a couple of subjects that I felt particularly vulnerable discussing. It's hard to know which ones they were now, but I could probably, if you go to that playlist, there's a couple subjects that I'm more kind of personally involved with, are obviously more vulnerable than others, and I've kind of learnt in a weird way to talk around subjects that I really don't feel comfortable talking about in Naked Truths. There's certain things that I'd never lie in Naked Truths, at least as far as I'm aware, touch wood. But I do tend to focus on certain sides of issues, particularly with really big issues, which I'm so impressed with Trisha for being brave enough to combat really big issues. For the really high stress, high stakes, emotional subjects, it's hard to cover everything. In fact, it's impossible to cover everything. So for those ones, I tend to focus on the subject aspects that I'm more comfortable discussing. But yeah, not doing it naked. I've discussed that in about 5 naked truths about why I don't do them naked. So they should be on the playlist. I do need to update the playlist. But if you go to the Naked Truth playlist, then you can look at that. That is my best suggestion. Blue Sky Blackbird, Red Sky Blackbird. I think you're Red Sky Blackbird on YouTube. It's been a while since I've done a commentary. This is gonna be a train wreck. Bear with me. I'm gonna have some tea, because I can. I really don't like chamomile. At the moment, I've got a stinking cold, which I'm really desperately trying to burn out of me on my day off, which is today. And because I'm home alone and because it's cold and because I have a cold, I've just been working my way through all of my herbal and fruit teas, which I really don't like that much. But I kind of enjoyed when I was starting to get into fruit teas, and then I've gone out the other side and don't particularly like them anymore. But they are really useful when you have no sense of smell, and you really want the detox / hydration. It's great because I can just drink it without it really being tasted, although I really don't like chamomile. This is chamomile and honey. It's not bad, but chamomile. So I'm just kind of like sipping it and getting it down because I know it's good for me, and I know it's a great way to use up old tea bags. Anywho, you guys see why I use my webcam for this? Okay, moving on. So for one of the earlier Naked Truths that I decided had interesting stuff to cover on was on spots, which was before Trisha's announcement that she was preggers, and she decided to talk about spots and acne and all those sort of things. So KSJ said, all of the Halloween candy may leave you looking like a giraffe, because I said that sweets make me spotty, so that is good. He may obviously be making a comment I can't remember if I made in that video, but one of the family sayings, particularly my dad, used to say, oh, eat all of your courses because you're a growing girl, you're growing outwards, and that's not meant to be like a, low body image thing. It's just a family joke. It's just a family joke. But yeah, so maybe growing upwards would be more appropriate if I'm going to end up looking like a giraffe. Chris Ware said, welcome back! So many exclamation points, it nearly caused my laptop to crash, which isn't that much of a feat because my laptop's been in crash mode. But opening that many exclamation marks actually caused my laptop to freeze up for about 20 seconds. So I really need to defrag and do a virus check and just basically get my laptop cleaned out because it is in a bad way. And Red Sky Blackbird said, Jenny is alive! It lives! Yeah. So I'm guessing that video was posted after a long break. That was from, let's see, October 29th. So yeah, it was a while ago. Moving on, I think we're going to take a little bit of a time jump here if my laptop wasn't frozen. Let's hope the video is still working because my laptop is frozen right now. There we go, it's moving. So taking a big old jump to December 13th, 2016. Red Sky Blackbird says, just to confirm, does your job require you to carry a lot of weaponry and or meet people that you will never So maybe you can confirm, does your job require you to travel a lot, carry weaponry and or meet people that will never meet others again? I'm not an assassin. My job does not involve weaponry of any kind unless you occasionally count large utensils. Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I mean, you can turn anything into a weapon. Has zombie survival training taught me nothing? Anything could be a weapon. I can look around my room and I see I've got my fairy lamp. I've got, I'm sure I could do something really impressive with my beer bottle cap collection. I've got my medieval times mug. I've got my replica dagger, which is actually made out of metal and pretty hefty. I'm sure my trophy would be good if it wouldn't fall apart on first contact. My lampshades. My lampshades could do serious damage to a zombie brain. I've got a lot of things like, I've got mugs. I've got loads of mugs, all on the top of my bed is just mug after mug after mug. I've got deodorant, and I've got matches, which means I can make a little hand grenade. So, you know, I could be an assassin, but I'm not. But again, if I said I was, if I was an assassin, I wouldn't confess to it. It all goes round in a loop-de-loop. To conclude, I'm not an assassin. But thank you for the thought. I guess being a woman of intrigue is a compliment somewhere along the lines. Trisha, lovely Trisha, says, congratulations on the new job. Sorry she's commenting now, but was very excited for me, and I'm sure I'll do great. I still don't know if I'm doing great in my new job. I heard yesterday from one of my old colleagues that my previous place is not doing well, which I can't tell if that is, like, it's obviously not good, but I was really hoping that they would do well. And the thought of it being bad without me is giving me serious guilt for leaving, even though I know it's not my fault and there's nothing I can do, and now legally, because I am employed by someone else in a contract that does not allow me to do 2 jobs with a schedule that would not allow me to do 2 jobs, I can't help them. But I also still feel kind of shitty about leaving my previous job, which was, I was there for nearly 5 years, and, you know, it was my home from home, and I left it not at a great time. And I left it because it was such a bad time. So, and with my new job, again, I feel like everything's going really well. But I was so, even though work was really shitty for my old place, I was so settled, and knew exactly what was going on at all times. And now I'm in a place where I don't know what's going on most of the time. And that feeling of kind of just not knowing what I'm meant to be doing is kind of stressful, although, you know, there's nothing there that I haven't been able to work out so far, and I haven't really messed up too much. I'm out of my comfort zone, and it's been, let's see, it's been about 8 weeks, more or less, probably 9 weeks by now. So I feel like I am starting to settle in. I don't know if I'm doing well or not. And everyone else, like the other people who are in the same position of me, have all been there like over 2 years. So I don't really have a genuine point of comparison as to like where I'm meant to be at this particular point in time. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm doing okay. I don't know. Same. That James second time I've had to put my tongue back behind my teeth today. I'm out of practice. This is why I need to learn to speak more often. I should start doing streams again. I've been meaning to do gaming streams for a while because I realize I can really just reel it off like nobody's business, but I also, you know, need to practice a little bit if I'm going to jump back into that. And also my laptop needs to stop crashing so much because obviously gaming takes up a lot of processing. Anywho, that James Wisdom, so I nearly managed to get through without slurring, I'm not drunk, I'm just me, said, congratulations, it sounds like a great opportunity for you, good luck with it, sounds like you're going to be great at it, and I hope you find your feet sooner rather than later, and it keeps getting better and better. I hope so, I don't know, I hope so. Pineapple Boy Films, hello. God knows what that voice was. That's Jake from Pineapple Boy Films. I'm assuming it's Jake. It might be Eliza. It might be someone else. Says congratulations. Thank you. And Tor, lovely Tor, like all my favourite people. Says so excited for you. Thank you. I'm so excited for me too. I'm kind of freaking out. And I've been there 8 weeks, so I shouldn't still be freaking out, but I kind of still am. I am getting more used to the commute, but I'm not quite there yet. On my early morning plans for 2017 plans, that's not the title, but you get the gist. For my first video of 2017, which was published on the 2nd of January, I asked you guys what you wanted to see in the coming year. And the only response I actually got was commentary, comment. Okay, anyways, now I know what I want to see. Glad you didn't get lost in the old year. So that is from KSJ Hawker, one of my classic commenters. Hello. And yes, apparently you want to see this fluffy mess. So, yay! I hope you are satisfied. God knows how long this is. I have been speaking rather fast, so I'm probably shorter than I think. It's only 14 minutes. That's pretty good for me. Yeah, woo! It's weird. None of these teas that I've been drinking are being caffeinated, but it seems like they are by the speed that I'm talking. Anywho. Oh my god, do I hate chamomile? Ugh, it just seems such a shame to go to waste and no one else in my family drinks herbal teas, so it's gonna have to be me. It's the only time I can do it when I have no sense of smell. Anywho, rest of the guys all just wish me Happy New Year. That is Simon Burndent, Dr. Fu Manchu, Jacob60617, and Libban. Hello, Libban. I didn't reply to many of your comments, I just gave you all thumbs up, because typing is hard when it's this cold in my room. In fact, I'm going to put my gown back on. So much for me proving that I wasn't in my pajamas. But my hands are cold and my arms are cold, and I've got a hot water bottle in my feet. But yeah, it's cold at the moment. Those of you who've watched my Naked Truth from earlier today, yes, that was shot earlier today, well, no, it's not warm weather right now. Anywho, on my Naked Truth on circumcision, which was from the 8th of January, I got a very long message from Democracy Must Die, which is very informative about the history of circumcision, the facts revolving around circumcision, and all of those things. And very researched. Good job on that. I did read all of it. I have not reread all of it, but I did read all of it at the time of posting, so thank you for it. As I said in my video, it's not something that I would choose for my child, but again, if my partner was really enthused about it for some reason or another, and it was done in a safe way, then sure, but it's not something that I would never actually instinctively do. It's a lot of research there. You're very forward with your opinion on that fact. So, yeah, thank you for that. Good job on all that typing. I hope you typed it all and not copied and pasted. Big Virgo Tube says he thinks that I will make a wonderful mother someday, so you will have more hope than I do on that front. And asked what my favourite books are for children. That was my question that I asked at the end of the video. I don't know if Trisha actually saw that part, but it was there. I asked what my favourite children's books were, what her favourite children's books were to share with her child when she had her child. And I have a lot of children's books. In fact, I have a web series, which is somewhere on the recesses of my channel. I don't know whether or not I had a specific playlist for it. I have to check it. Which was Jenny Likes Children's Books. I had a little intro and everything. And my mug is jangling against the wall. There we go. And yeah, I did that series for quite some time. It was one of, by far, my least popular segments. By quite a lot. Not a lot of people enjoyed that segment. So that's the reason why I stopped doing it. But I still do love children's books. Most of the top of my bookshelf is children's books. A lot of the books outside of my corridor are children's books. I really enjoy reading children's books, but when you're an adult, it is a bit of a chore. And I'm in the process of I want to reread all of my children's books to get an adult perspective, whether or not I would want to keep them, throw them, well, not throw them, give them to charity, or whatever other options there are. Like, do I want to keep them? Because I actually, rereading them as an adult, like teenage fiction, a lot of my teenage fiction that I read when I was a teenager, I reread now, and I'm like, I'll read this in another year, so I don't want to loft that, because in another year I might want to flick through a Borson, or Sabriel, or Lyriel, or the Ironside books. Like, those that I adored as a teenager, I might want to reread in a year or two, because they're nostalgia flicks. While, you know, the Ladybird, the Ladybird Princess and the Frog, I reread that as an adult, and I do not want to share that with my offspring, particularly if my offspring are female, because it doesn't exactly promote equal gender barriers. Just throwing that out there. Same with the Ladybird book of Princess and the Pea. I adore the pictures. It's very nostalgic. It's beautiful, like part of my childhood. And I reread it as an adult, and I'm like, ooh, this is not good for developing minds. What Katie did is a fabulous, beautiful book that, yes, it has a lot of subtext to do with belief systems, which I think would be good for children to read, because especially modern children who maybe do not have a religious upbringing, it will expose them to new concepts without them being pushed down that direction. Same with the old copy of Heidi that I have, which it comes from that historical period where that was just part of the universe that you built around children's books. So of course I'd share that with my children. So that goes in the loft. I have a very old edition of Peter Pan. I have a very old edition which I can't remember if I actually ended up filming a whole video on it. I think I must have done, because I remember talking about it at some point. It is a brief children's history. It's on top of my bookshelf, and I can't quite read it from here. It's like a history of the British Isles for children, and I don't know if I want to share it with my children because it's so weirdly written and historically inaccurate that I think they should wait till they're an adult and then they can read it with irony in mind, because I don't know if I approve of them reading it as a child, because it's not accurate in the slightest for a lot of the segments. But there we go. That's the thought process. I love, obviously, Harry Potter was a huge part of my childhood. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I read the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe book specifically many times. I never got around to cracking the whole series open. My sisters read the whole series. Puddle Lane books are fantastic. They were a reading scheme, but they were so good. They were just ingrained in my childhood. Any fairy tale. I've read so many versions of Cinderella, both parodies and non-parodies and everything in between. A lot of adult books I read, like, I can remember my mum reading segments of Our Mutual Friend to me on the beach when I was way too young to understand what that was about. What else? There's so many. See whether or not you find my series. If I remember, I will link it in the description. A playlist to Jenny Likes Children's Books. I can't remember how many I actually got around to talking about, but I did cover quite a few in the end. So, yeah, I think my laptop's at a bit of an angle. There we go. My knee was in the wrong place. I hope that answers your question. LJ Hartley says, fucking stupid, innit? In regards to circumcision, not in regards to children's books. Although, I'm sure if there is a children's book on pooping, there's probably a children's book on circumcision. I don't know how healthy that would be, but probably exists. The world is a weird and wonderful place, I guess. Anywho, on my Naked Truth on baby names as of January 18th, Nathan Lyle, another classic commenter, said he'd love having kids named Scar, Zod, and Ultron. That is, of course, in reference to my idea that maybe you shouldn't name your child after villains or evildoers. But, again, whatever floats your boat. If you think your child can grow up with the name Scar and not be teased or thought of as a bad guy, then go for it. I mean, Scar, Zod, and I think Scar and Zod you might be able to get away with. Ultron, probably not for conventional schooling, without getting some teasing. To be honest, I'd probably name, pet animals after those three. Like, Scar, Zod, and Ultron could be the cutest set of puppies, but I probably wouldn't name infant human any of those. But that's just me. Anyone is welcome to their opinion and the naming of their own child. Jose Roberto Gonzalez says, I love you! Thank you very much. That's swell. Big Virgo Tube says, do you have any good associations with people named Paul or Edward? That said, I believe that if you do decide to marry and have children, that you will not only give careful consideration to the name, you will probably come up with very unique and interesting ones for them. Thank you. That's a good compliment. When it comes to Paul or Edward, currently Paul I would have issue with because I have a colleague called Paul, and again, I'm still adjusting to my new colleagues, and if I ever were to produce offspring, I don't want him to necessarily feel like I'm naming it after him. At least at this point in my life, I don't really want, in our relationship with each other, We're literally colleagues. I don't want to feel like I'm naming the child after him. If I'm still working with him, we shall see. You know, I might never produce offspring, or it might be 20 years from now when I've got a different job. I don't know. Edward, I haven't got any direct associations with a personal Edward, although the thought of Edward does make me think of Twilight. So I don't know. But as I said, those two would be options, and I would consider them at the time if I discovered that I was going to produce a male offspring. Or a female offspring. You could have a Paula, or a... I think Ed, is Ed a female name in Cowboy Bebop? I think it is. Ed. So, who knows? And Raymond Smith says, if you ask him any name is okay for a baby, if people will know how to spell it. Don't make your kids spend their entire life correcting spelling. Yeah, that's one of those odd balances where you want an original name, so you spell a name originally, and then the poor child has spent its entire life correcting it. Same with, as I was saying in my video, I said that I have a lot of relatives that have chosen names and given names, which I imagine is great for them personally, where they choose the name they want. Not so good when you have to fill out paperwork and you've got completely different chosen names versus legal names, unless you were to legally change your name, and in the meantime you've got to grow up as a child doing that thing. So yeah, names are hard, I guess that's the general conclusion. But yeah, I think learning how to spell your name is really useful. I remember directly learning how to spell Jennifer. I can remember that thought process, learning how to spell Jennifer versus Jenny. I'm technically a Jennifer, I've always been a Jenny, and I can remember spending night after night going, no Y, I-F-E-R, no Y, I-F-E-R, as I went to bed to try and learn how to spell Jennifer because I thought it would be more adult, and obviously, given the fact that I was learning how to spell my name, I was clearly not an adult. But there we go. So yeah, even conventional names can have unconventional spellings or just unusual spellings, but taking conventional names and deliberately giving them unusual spellings can be a tricky one. It's up to you as to whether or not you want to do that to your child. But there you go, that's the thought. Moving on to my next negatory on coping with catastrophes, in response to Trisha's recent crises, both with Larry and Bibi and House. So they come in threes. They've come in three. You've had three. Not that Bibi counts as a crisis, but it is a big change and something to deal with. So yeah, hopefully that will sort itself out. Fingers crossed. Fingers, all the fingers. Cray Vast says he watched all of my video responses at the same time. So yeah. Good for you. Thank you. Yay. Did you watch them like all concurrently? Like you loaded up 20 tabs and then just let them play all at once? Because if you did, that's great. Audio, visual, psychological control, if you can translate all of that at once and not come out with a load of names. Although I do find it funny when I open all of my videos, a couple of tabs of my videos at once, and I get the opening jingle running over each other like do 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 do. Anyway, that was a terrible impression. Moving on, Trisha, yay! She said thank you for recommending music again. I'm sure the little guy would like to listen to music rather than me ranting and raving. Again, music is just my go-to for emotional control, both as a happy emotion and, you know, letting the bad emotions out, and, you know, letting the, like, it's a really good way of controlling my psychological energy. When it comes to rain walking, she says she's never done rain walking, but maybe now is the time when it's raining in California. I think it's definitely something that's hard to do in California, generally have a rain walk. I just like being outside when it's wet and rainy, obviously so you can come in and have a nice hot shower afterwards. Not so pleasant when you can't, but if it's like you just get out in the storm and it's very visceral and romantic in the classic romance sense, as in the, you know, mountains and hills and windswept valleys and nature and all those sort of romantic aspects, which nowadays romance is just, you know, sex or whatever. I'm getting to the point where my brain is tired, if you guys can't tell. The romantic aspect of modern romance is very much to do with intimate relationships between individuals and people, while classic romanticism is a lot more epic, sweeping love of natural energies, if that makes any sense. And I like rain walks and getting that sort of natural energy up, although I probably wouldn't recommend it with BB currently. I don't know whether or not that would particularly affect your health, but it's something to consider. As long as you have a hot shower afterwards, I'm sure it's fine. You know, women have had babies forever. I'm terrible at words right now. My brain has definitely smushed. Time for more tea. Oh, joy. See, my nose is filled up with snot again. That wasn't too bad. I blew my nose right before filming, so up until now it's been pretty empty, and now it's just completely filled up again. Yay, sinuses. And she says, thank you for the lovely voice, and thank you for being such an important part of the community. Thank you. I've got to say, genuinely, Trisha's community is one of the nicest, it's the nicest community ever. Like, Phil's community always surprises me with how nice it is. The Critical Role community is phenomenal. But I will say that of the communities I've seen, like, I have almost forgotten how to mod on Twitch, because when I go onto Trisha's videos, I never have to do any moderation at all. It actually blows my mind how little I have to do to keep everyone just happy and civil. And to be honest, I mostly just go on to chat, and I've genuinely forgotten some of the, like, coding for moderation. I need to recap. Because if Phil ever comes back to streaming, then I have no idea what to do with his crowd. But yeah, like, the community is just, it's nice. They're just nice people. It's incredibly, it's just a genuine pleasure to be part of such a nice community of people who like to actually question their beliefs and listen to other people's beliefs, and, you know, for something that the naked truth as a concept could be thought of as clickbaity, but the fact that it's actually spurned something that's actually genuinely conversational is phenomenal, and it takes a very strong person to be able to channel something so positive from the internet in general. And my nose is filling up so much, oh my god. Ugh. Oh my gosh, I can breathe again. Feel that. That's amazing. Anywho, Sean Riaz, who was one of the old schoolers from the movie club days, and he's a phenomenal artist. Please go check him out. He's lovely. Says he doesn't comment often, but he does watch this series of videos. Thank you for doing them. Thank you for watching them. And you're awesome. You are equally awesome. Thank you. So yeah. I love old schoolers. They're the best. And new schoolers. New schoolers are awesome too, but old schoolers have a special place in my little bitty heart. KSJ Hawker says, silly Jenny, when are you not tired? So true. So true. I think I've come to know all the different kinds of tired that you could possibly be at this point. From interrupted sleep type of tired, or overslept type of tired, to underslept type of tired, the kind of squishy face type of tired, and the sore throat type of tired, the kind where your body just doesn't work, the kind where you're really clumsy. I have that so much. Like, I know when I'm tired when I've walked into a wall, or like just randomly acquiring bruises. The kind of tired where, like, you just sleep, the kind where you have waking REM. I have waking REM occasionally. It's horrifying. So yeah, I can't deny that I'm always kind of tired. But I suppose that's a good thing, because it means I do things, I guess, or not. I don't know. Either way, it's something that I'm trying to work on, but it's very hard, particularly when, with my new schedule, I have to get up at 5:20 in the morning if it's an early shift, which I know people do that regularly, but it's not something I'm used to, and it also involves going to bed at a decent time, which is something that I am also not used to doing. So yeah, I'm working on it. It's gonna take a lot of time and energy to mentally adjust the concept of healthy sleep, and a lot of that's gonna also involve like leaving my laptop downstairs, which I don't see that happening anytime soon because I like being able to be like, hey YouTube, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've got to be up in 3.5 hours. Let's see what Screen Rant has to say about the top 10 redheads on TV. Why not? Internet life is good life. First world problems. I think that definitely falls under that bracket. Moving on to my last video on my naked response on creating comics, which is the naked truth for last week. And again, Sean, who, as I said, is an amazing artist, please do check out his work. He says, Circus Freaks vs. Zombies sounds like an awesome idea. Thank you. That's my 18-year-old self coming back to haunt me. And the fact that I've been reading the Buffy comics makes me really cool. So thank you. I really enjoy them. It's been a long time since I've read them, and I'm not up to date. I will confess to that. I am far from up to date. I only think I got as far as the end of season 9. So yeah, I have a lot more reading to do. But yeah, that is everything. I am out of breath. Thank you for watching these 36 minutes. Not bad for the number of videos I covered, to be honest. And probably a lot of words were definitely covered in this. I'm gonna have some more tea. Oh, it's a bit cold now. Oh well, I'll be able to drink it faster. Thank you for watching. Feel free to comment, as is the kind of whole point of this video. I don't know what's happening with my voice. Apparently, I'm just crazy. Yeah, feel free to comment, and I will commentate on them by and by. As I said, I'll be doing less commentaries this year because I'm doing less videos generally, but hopefully I will produce more content in the coming months. Now I'm sort of used to work, and actually bring you guys something other than Naked Truths, which are still by far the easiest thing to film and produce regularly, which is why I do it, and it's so much part of the Trisha Hirschberg's community, and she's just so fabulous. I just want to be part of that little community of people. But I do promise to create some different content because I'm aware that it's kind of boring that I've just been naked truthing after naked truthing. So yeah, hopefully I'm a little bit settled into work. That will happen. I cannot make any promises because life will happen around me as it happens, but I will try. Yeah, so comment. One of the things that I used to do with my old commentaries is to prove who actually made it to the end of the video. My nose is filling up again. Oh my god. To prove who actually made it to the end of this video, I'm going to put a secret word, and feel free to put it down in the description down below if you comment. So I know if you actually made it to the end of the video or not. So you can put it as subtly as you like, or you can just spam it, or whatever. If it is, like, if you put whatever word it is again and again and again and it gets marked as spam, I'll approve it, as long as you also don't put a link to something inappropriate as well, or something else that I would want to not approve. So today's secret word of the day is, just looking at my bookcase in case there's anything useful. Let's go with chopstick. The secret word of today is chopstick. So if you made it to the end of the video and you want to prove that you've made it to the end of the video, put the word chopstick somewhere in the description-y, commenty place. And so I know. And as I said, you can put it as subtly as you like or as non-subtly as you like. It is up to you. So yeah, chopstick. Thank you for watching. I am going to finish this less than tasty cup of tea, and switch to a cup of tea that I actually prefer the flavour of, maybe. We'll see. And I'll see you guys all when I do. Yeah. Baby for now, guys. Good luck with the weather if you guys are facing snow like I am. And all that jazz.